fact that there are like problems and issues that we address via our music, and like when we're on stage, you know, we're talking about things that are personal to us, and we're talking about like real life interactions with these issues and problems that we're facing and have faced, you know.
Something's different. I can't quite put my finger on it. Something's changed, you know.
Hell yeah, from the river to the sea, Palestine must be, will be, inshallah, it will be free.
So it's not really, I suppose, like a case of summoning the anger or the rage, because the rage is there when you think of those things, do you know what I mean? Because
Oh yeah, totally. I get, you don't have to summon the rage. The rage is there, it's just under the skin, you just have to let it flow forth, yes. Well, would you look at that? Bobby, the lead man of musical double act Bob Vylan, who I thought was a regular brother from the gutter, you know, when he was singing death to the IDF on stage at Glastonbury the other day. And what was his other lovely song he was singing? Heard you want your country back. You can't have that. Shut the fuck up. Right, I thought he was like a mean motherfucker, right? Turns out he's a right old thespian.
Like, they're things that we should, everybody should, be angry about, right? Like,
yep.
Like miscarriages of justice, like racial abuse, like,
which I hate.
So whatever it is that kind of like is a ill of our society, like we should be angry at that. And so, you know, I suppose it just comes naturally on stage.
I suppose so, yeah. Your 100% fake hard man persona just comes naturally, you know, on the stage, under the spotlight. You know, yeah. When I alight on stage, I just become a regular yardie, you know. Yeah. So we're going to be taking a look at what's happening to Bobby here, or should I say Pascal Robinson Foster, to call him by his real name. We're going to be taking a look at how he's had his visa revoked for his US tour, and how he's had a load of shows cancelled for the stuff he said. Now, that's not something I'm celebrating. I don't really care about him. I think if you're in public and you say things that might get you cancelled, I think that's just something, that's just part of the game, isn't it? You know, God knows what will happen to me the next time I visit the UK. But look, we're not here to celebrate that. We're going to take a look, though, at some of the hot takes from some of our channel favourites. We got James O'Brien. We love a bit of James O'Brien on the Daniel Boland show. And we've got another a channel favourite of mine, but I haven't really spoken about him for a while. I wonder why that is. Yeah? You big fanny. We're going to take a look at Owen Jones' hot take on Piers Morgan regarding all of this, and that's going to be nice. What? I haven't really heard from Owen Jones for a while. I wonder what he's been getting up to.
Indiscriminate bombing.
Well, yeah, apart from that. But anyway, yeah, let's get into the video.
Who's Daniel Boland? Oh, Daniel Boland, this is a heavy hitter. Do you guys know who this is?
How on earth? Comments by a musical artiste. Provocative. And it is for an investigation to decide whether or not they were insightful.
Well, that really depends on how you're spelling insightful, I think, James. But I would say in both cases, no. I don't think that saying death to the RDF is particularly revealing or, you know, incendiary to the point where any of those trust fund kids are going to go over to Israel and take out the IDF. You know, no matter how many classes in Krav Maga they've taken.
I don't personally think that the investigation will find that they were, for reasons that I explained yesterday. But I think I'll explain again, because you can make a very good living pretending not to understand this.
James O'Brien must have anemia, because there's nothing irony about him. My point is, I think it's a bit rich for James O'Brien to be sitting there squealing about people making a good living off pretending not to understand stuff. Eh? You charlatan, sitting there in your LBC throne in your ivory tower like the bloated carcass of a sow. Is that a bit harsh? I would say that's insightful. Oh, thank you, James.
The reason why I don't think it will be found to be insightful is because there is absolutely no likelihood, as far as I can tell, of anybody in that crowd leaving Glastonbury and encountering members of the Israeli Defence Force. I mean, literally, physically. Being there, ramped up or amped up by the provocations from the stage, and therefore rendered more likely to attack these people that they are also likely to encounter.
Now, I have to admit that initially I loosely agreed with James O'Brien for once that, yeah, this isn't really... I mean, what are the possibilities of one of those posh kids going out and killing someone because of something Bob Vylan screamed at a concert? The only crime I saw there was against aesthetic, right? It was very cringe to hear Bob Vylan, or Pascal von Bülow, or whatever his real name is. It was very cringe to hear him say, Inshallah, death to the IDF from the river to the sea. Right, that just makes me feel sick. Not for any political reasons, just like, shut the fuck up, you posh spaz, right? In fact, I was way more not irked, but, you know, I found way more annoying his chants about, you can't have your country back, you know? I heard you want your country back. To me, his hatred for England, his hatred of England is what kind of confuses me, because, you know, he's done well. He's a successful musician and has a double-barrel surname, which is nice. So it's not like life has treated him unfairly, Mr. Pascal Robinson Foster. So initially I thought all of that, but of course James O'Brien is a terrible journalist and a massive hack and driven by ideology, and has purposefully omitted the other clips that have come to light, which are much more explicit, which we're going to look at in a little while, where Bob Vylan, I mean, Bobby of Bob Vylan, again, is it going to lead to any crime? I don't know, but you'll see later on in the video that he does say worse things than that.
If you were, for example, to call for a pogrom while rampaging mobs of violent racists were parading through the streets of the United Kingdom, and you were to urge them to set fire to a hotel that actually exists and outside which they could quite easily convene, then you'd probably have little choice but to plead guilty to incitement charges. But again, there is a very good living to be made at the Daily Telegraph by pretending not to understand this.
Ah, yeah, good one, James. Another jibe at Lucy Connolly there, eh? The mother of three who's been in prison for going on a year now for a tweet she sent out in the heat of a moment when she saw, you know, several children get slaughtered by a maniac in Southport. Here you go, James. I'm going to give you another irony that I've spotted about you. And it's like this. You sit there picking your nose, pretending to be the moral conscience of the UK, lecturing us all on how wrong we are about everything. You're like Piggy in The Lord of the Flies, appealing to order from the platform at Castle Rock, aren't you? And you'd have it that me and people of my ilk are the Rogers, the sadists, about to roll the boulder down to smash your conch and send you out to sea. When in reality, it's very strange. It is an irony. We have on the platform at Castle Rock the sadists. The wanton destructors of our society, the people cheering on the chaos. You, James, you fat slob. Anyway, I think a more apt analogy of Bob Vylan would be, I don't think anyone's going to go out and kill anyone. It's not like Malema in South Africa calling for people to shoot the Boers, kill the farmers, right? That's a real situation where people who live with each other, communities that live with each other in a country, and who are already, in the case of the Boers, the disproportionate victims of violent crime. That's a situation where somebody might actually get killed from something that you're singing on stage. So yeah, Bob Vylan isn't quite Malema. You know?
Bombing anything in front of him.
Indiscriminately bombing.
He's waging a form of genocide.
Wow.
indiscriminate bombing.
Okay, Owen, I think we've heard just enough about your romantic escapades for one day. Now, I wonder why Owen ever blocks me, eh? Anyway, let's be serious, eh? Can we please be serious? We're here to talk about Gaza and shit, okay? Let's get to the bottom of this. We're here to see Owen Jones giving his hot take on Bob Vylan, and he's going to get owned. Owen is going to get owned. He's going to be made into Piers Morgan's little bitch, my twink.
When people say the NHS will die, literally they will say the NHS will die without reform, are they saying that they're going to be the mass murder of doctors and patients?
So to be clear... Oh, here we go with the false analogies. When you say, right, that you're dead tired, are you technically, really, are you saying that you're dead? Because I don't think you are you?
Clear, when you watch that rapper at Glastonbury chanting and leading a chant with thousands joining in of death to the IDF, you instinctively believe...
He said it himself. He said...
Oh, no, he said it since. So you accept then that the rapper was talking about soldiers?
No. People call for the death of the Russian army all the time.
Do you believe him 100%?
Yes.
That when he said death to the IDF, he didn't mean individuals... Do you believe that?
Well, he's actually unlike... I mean, this is the irony. Do you know what the irony is?
Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what I think the irony is, right, is that so many people of your persuasion, Owen, seem to love Hamas. Just saying, you know, I love Hamas too sometimes, and then I love the IDF. I love everyone, all right? Don't try and pin anything on me, suckers, in the comments. You really think I care? I don't care about anything. Only people and gossip and, the very surface level stuff. We do not go deep on the Daniel Boland show. It's a policy. I've got to say, Owen, by the way, you are looking fabulous. Bloody Dorian Gay here is looking younger by the day. 41 years young is our Owen. I wish he'd unblock me because I want the secrets to his skincare routine. He must be heaping the cream on his face every day.
Well, just answer my question first.
Yes, I do.
Because new footage has emerged.
And death to every single IDF soldier out there as an agent of terror.
Oh dear. Now, I've got to say, again, the thing that offends me the most isn't the calling for the death of anyone. It's the way he says it, you know. I'm very much a woman in that sense. It's the way he said, death to every single IDF agent out there as an agent of terror, when we know actually his name is Pascal Robinson Foster, and he talks a little bit like that, you know, right? Yeah. Penis.
I've known you a long time. I have a lot of respect for you. You just have to admit, when you hear that, you were wrong to defend him in the way you defended him. He didn't mean IDF.
People I was defending...
He didn't mean IDF the entity, did it? But you accept now that you were wrong. He didn't mean that.
I didn't hear. I've only heard for the first time.
You've heard that. So what? Now you've heard that. Do you still say he only meant the entity?
Well, no. Obviously now he's made clear what he meant.
So you accept you were wrong.
Well, yeah, because I obviously.
I know. I'm not saying you should have known.
Fine.
Oh, I can't help having a little bit of a soft spot for Owen Jones. He does seem like a quite open, affable kind of guy. But I am a bit wary of the fact that so many of his opponents say things like that about him. He is, after all, 41 years of age, and just because he doesn't look it, he is that age, and he needs to start understanding. He needs to fucking look into things before he falls so heavily on one side or another on things. Now, Israel-Palestine, I don't know how much he knows about that, but a couple of years ago I saw an interview where he sat down with Peter Hitchens, and Peter Hitchens absolutely embarrassed him on the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Now, I don't know if Peter Hitchens was 100% right in everything he said, but Owen Jones was embarrassing. He didn't know what... There was no point in them having the conversation, basically, because Peter Hitchens had hundreds of things to talk about in great detail and at length. And Owen Jones was just there like a schoolchild, a nearly 40-year-old schoolchild who studied history, by the way. So it's like, at what point do you say, come on, you've got to, if you're in the public eye and you're giving your strong opinions on everything all the time, maybe look into them a little bit, right? That's why you will never hear any opinions out of me. Not really. I mean, I'm being serious about that to a degree. Yes, I'll give my opinion here and there, but you won't hear me going full on one thing or another. You won't. You know, I have some principles. I can say that one thing looks a bit better than another, but you won't hear me raging against Palestine or against Israel or against Russia or against Ukraine. I'll point out hypocrisy when I see it. The point is, when, and not if, when Piers Morgan invites me on, we're just going to have a laugh, okay? I'm not going to be there turning into Vicky Pollard. Yeah, but that ain't going to happen to me. Because I'll just be like, so? Oh, I got it wrong, did I? Okay. No biggie. I don't think anyone's voting based on what I say. It's not... if only everyone could be as reasonable as I am.
I'm just saying that I found the defence very disingenuous by everybody, and I felt what he'd done. And this has now been proven, I think. He'd gone on social media. He'd seen people coming up with this ludicrous defence that he only meant the entity. And then, and knowing what he'd said on stage, he issues a statement saying the complete opposite that he's read from people like you defending it. And now he's made all of you look like complete prunes.
No. And that's why they cut the clip off on the Piers Morgan Clips channel. Yeah, Piers Morgan Censored, I call it. So very good, very nice. I think we've learnt a lot today. We've learnt that never, don't have too strong opinions. The Dunning-Kruger effect, you'll look silly. But then how do we learn if we don't give our opinion on stuff we don't know? So, complicated, isn't it? Point is, don't be Owen Jones, all right? Or Bob Vylan, or even Pascal Robinson Foster. Be more like me, all right? Just scowling at everyone's opinions, going, what do you know, idiot? That's the way to be, I would say. It's the healthiest option. Anyway, just before we check out my lovely outro video, as that's become a feature, hasn't it? If you've enjoyed the video at any point, any of the analogies, any of the musings, if you've enjoyed any of it, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Follow me on X, on Instagram, and on Patreon if you want to help out with the channel even further and get some access to some exclusive videos. All that's under the video here, under the title, in the description. And what else? Let me know what you thought in the comments, I guess. I'll see you in the next one.
Dude, there is no way this single beaver built this whole fucking thing. That is incredible.